Hey, friends out there, this is Thursday, December 22nd, 2022. A lot of twos. And it is just about almost exactly 5:30 in the morning here in Northern California. And as usual, I'll talk about a few things today. I hope everybody's doing as well as he can in a crazy ass world run by maniacal, money loving madmen bent on misery for the masses. And, they've had their reign for thousands of years. The same mentality, the same caliber of freaks. They appear human, but, sometimes you wonder by their behavior, by their stupid choices to sell their conscience for a buck. And, something that normal people aren't willing to do. That's a peculiar thing, and I think any atheist has to ask themselves why that is, but they would have to admit that's true. That even if you renounce this idea of a God, that it's fanciful and preposterous or whatever, an atheist thinks about God, you still have to agree that that's true. That the conscience is something that for some reason it transcends all the laws of man. This is what God put in us, an instinct to do right and to feel bad when we do wrong. It's an instinct. The conscience is like an instinct. And we have free will choice, and we can choose to be basically evil. If you ignore your conscience and you say, no, I disregard that notion, that, the only thing I care about is the laws of man, because then, there's implications, there's ramifications that are very real. And I'm going to pay a price, a penalty, I'll be punished. And so people live their lives and worried solely about the laws of man. And we can see that simply doesn't work. I mean, you look at these school shootings. We got kids killing each other now, kids killing themselves. I mean, for crying out loud, if the parents were brought up in a godless public school where they couldn't even do a pledge of allegiance and mention the name of God because free thinkers, said, hey, we object, they're religious now. This is why I hate this word religion, and all the religious people that think of themselves as religious need to understand where I'm coming from. It doesn't mean that I'm not trying to be a righteous, pious, decent, moral human being, virtuous, and all that good stuff. It's just that you understand how the way the secular world thinks, it's very negative on religion for some reason. And I think if you question most people, you really sat them down and had a discussion with them, they really don't have a basis. It's just somebody told them something and it stuck in their mind, and so they renounced it. They said poo-pooed all of it and said, it's not for me. I have faith in the world system, the secular world, and what I'm taught and what I'm not taught. I presuppose it's of no value, otherwise I would have been taught, right? But yet they don't. We don't hear this talked about it, in public schools. This thing called God and conscience. These invisible things that are of great value, but yet in the secular way of thinking, they're of no value, anti-value. It's like, no, that's going to keep you from getting ahead. You're goody two-shoes. You're going to get walked on. Okay, this is a rat race. Understand? This is a dog-eat-dog world. Understand? So the parents may be harding them, and who knows what, is going on with their teachers. What are they telling them? This is the path. It's just get a great education and make a lot of money, get a career, be successful. And, and anybody can understand it. That sounds delightful, right? It's that simple. So it's not, though. That's the problem. It isn't that simple. And that's why we got all these problems, so much crime in society. If people that are murderous, we say, oh, well, they were in their right mind. How are you in your right mind when you did what? You understand? That tells me the psychiatrists and the psychologists are a little bit off, because every one of them's out of their nut, all right? You don't do those things. I mean, I hear about this FedEx driver, this clown, he took a little girl, right, and killed her? I mean, you wonder, WTF, right? I mean, where's the fear of God in your soul, man? Don't you understand that's God's property, that precious little child? And you did what? You understand? And this is not an anomaly. I mean, sorry to say, but I mean, these kind of, I watch all these crime shows. I love Forensic Files, and if they weren't always showing reruns on Dateline or they drag them out too long to make more money from commercials, I'd watch more of the Dateline. But, if they could keep it succinct, I mean, within an hour, they ought to be able to tell the story with good editing, right? It's just, I know they like to drag it out. They had one that went on, I swear it was 5 hours. It was, to be continued type thing, a mini-series or something. But I watch the crime shows and it blows my mind. I think, God almighty, I am so far removed. And if it's because I believe in God and I have the fear of God in my soul, and I say, I'm going to answer for every careless thought, every careless word, every careless deed, I'm going to answer for. And not just the things that I'm doing and thinking and saying, but the things I'm not thinking and saying and doing. We have to realize we'll be accountable, and we want to be. When you're in your right mind, you value your conscience. You value this idea that you have a soul that's going to live on, that you get to keep some substance, some of the character that you build up, that all that integrity pays off, that being a decent, upright, righteous human being as best you can without becoming self-righteous, remaining humble, having humility, and realizing, that this is a big deal. This is a big mission. This is about salvation of the human soul. People realizing, hey, I got to give a damn, man. I'm going to answer. I didn't create myself. What the hell do I know about creating a human being? We know only instinct. We know mating. All the animals do that too. So what? What did we do? God does the heavy lifting, the miraculous part. The sperm and the egg, becoming an embryo and a little baby and all that. I mean, we don't know. Scientists can't do that. No DNA. All the ingredients that exist in the sperm and the egg exist on Earth. It's all just, all the ingredients are on the Earth. Mainly water. That's what we're mostly consisted of, right? But can the scientists do that? But I'm to believe that this happened accidentally. You understand? The argument for God is, you don't have to get on a high horse and get self-righteous about it. It's just in your face, man. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world to me to say there's not a God. I mean, be like walking through a jungle and you stumble upon this painting, a beautiful painting. And you just say, oh my God, that's remarkable. Over time, this happened, just given enough time, this beautiful painting happened. But that's how the earth is and all the creation is, the universe we live in. It's incredible. I mean, the design is just undeniable. It's intricate. It's grandiose. It's marvelous. It's awesome. It's glorious. It's majestic. It's everything beautiful and good. In fact, our ability to comprehend, to appreciate beauty. What is love? It's a feeling. It's an emotion. When you see something cute, I mean, who did this? Why do we appreciate so much? Why do we value so much the cuteness in a baby critter? But who could deny it? Even, grown critters can be adorable. The whole thing is so beautiful, the way all the critters care about their baby critters. And I mean, it's just incredible the way God did everything. God is in all this life. God is everything. We're God's property. Everything is God's property. I mean, it's got to go back to a central source, a master power over all the affairs of the universe, man, keeping the planets suspended just the perfect distance from each other and all that. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. But listen, friends, you got to have more than the fear of the laws of man, because that's not working. It's not a deterrent to say you're going to kill somebody. They're already suicidal. What's suicide by cop? It's like trying to understand the mind of a madman. A normal person really can't. You just have to say it's kind of like demon possession, right? It is. I mean, so what am I saying if I say demon possession? I'm saying I don't know, but it's beyond me. I'm so far removed from that behavior that, oh my God, may God have mercy on your soul. I don't know what to say. Okay, but when I hear it, I think, God, I mean, yeah, I understand people being for capital punishment. I get it. Believe me, I get it. Do it immediately. I mean, if they did do stuff spontaneously, it wouldn't have the implication of being, in and of itself, first degree murder when society says, we want vengeance and it's a deterrent. We'll just call it a deterrent, but we know we want this guy dead now. And sometimes they get the wrong guy. It's happened in history. We know it's on record. Now with DNA, they could prove a lot more of that stuff went on. That the wrong guy went to the chair or whatever method they used. And for a lot of people, that alone is enough to say, no, we can't have capital punishment. But you understand, like Moses killed the slave driver that was being mean to his slave. He was incensed at the whole scene that he was witnessing, and he killed the slave driver. And he fled. He lived in fear for a long time about that, and thought he was going to get his just desserts by the law. But anyhow, you understand, if it happens spontaneously, right? You catch some guy raping some woman, it's obviously what's going on. It is what you see, You could take it, I mean, anybody, brutalizing a child, a woman, even another man. I mean, a cop, even brutalizing a cop, it happens. We've all seen those videos, but, a man does what a man has to do, and he puts his life on the line at times like that, and that's a beautiful thing. I don't think there's any laws that say you have to. I remember an episode of Seinfeld when they were in some town in New England, and there was a Good Samaritan law,